Dun, 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 dun. Hey, everybody. Hey, welcome to the Business G-Spot podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Katrina Garcia with KG Website Designs, and my other host is some guy named Tim Gillette. I don't know what he does.
We should make up a team like Penn and Teller. One of us talks and the other one just stays quiet. You ever watch those two?
Yes, hilarious. I have. They're pretty funny. I would be the talker because I don't know if I could be quiet.
Always the woman in the bunch.
I'm just saying. I just don't know if I could be quiet.
I know.
I gotta tell you, I had an interesting phone call this morning. Oh. You know how a lot of times people have...
Was he breathing heavy?
No. That would have been a lot more fun than the call I got. Anyway, I get this kid calling and saying, Grandma? And I said, yeah, dude, you're calling the wrong number. I don't have a grandson. I don't have a grandkid old enough to be talking. So sorry, click. So this is something that I know a lot of people fall for, where if they have grandchildren, especially if they've got grandkids that are that age, they will call them up and they'll pretend like they're in huge trouble and they need them to send money right away because they've been either abducted or whatever the case may be. And a lot of people won't even check. They'll just say, oh my God, yeah, where do I send the money? Where it's just like, you know what? Hold on, let me call somebody real quick to see about or whatever. And then you call your grandkid or whatever and find out it's just a scam. Mm-hmm. But it's the first time I ever had it happen to me. So I thought, wow, really? I'm not.
So you know what my wife used to do when back before we met, and she had two kids, is salespeople used to call, and oldest son, Ruben, she'd put him on the phone, and he'd sit there and go, the lady go, well, is your mom there? No, she hasn't been here in a while. I don't know if she's coming back. I'm hungry. Can you send me some food? She would set him loose on them salespeople. Oh my God, they hated calling the house.
Like, don't call that lady or call child services.
Yep.
I've heard of them, but I've never had the opportunity to have a call like that before. And I thought, wow. And I'd always think to myself, how do people fall for this crap?
They're gullible.
Yeah, I guess. I don't know. I mean, it happens every day. I mean, people are scammed every day on these things. And I just, like I said, I told the kid, yeah, no. I don't have a grandkid old enough. Sorry.
Oh, no. See, I would play all along with him. All right. And it's like, you know what I mean? Get him to give me all the information. Okay. So I'm going to call you back in 10 minutes. Okay. I'm going to go get this money. I'm going to call you back in 10 minutes. Click. After he spent an hour telling me how to do it.
My husband had a different mindset. He said, tell him, sorry, dude. Grandma doesn't have the money. You're going to have to do whatever they tell you to do. Yeah. Good luck. Bye. Yeah.
See, I just, that's the thing is I just want to mess back with them.
They always end up calling. These people call at the most inopportune times. And I was busy and I didn't have time to mess around with them. So it's like, I got work to do. I'm moving on.
Do you realize? Do you realize how you get put on those lists?
How?
Number one, all right, the biggest one that the government set up for you to do, all right, and that is, the healthcare.gov.
Oh.
You go and fill out healthcare.gov. You will be on a list years after you get health insurance. They will be calling you. And I'm talking every year you will get between 25 to 150 calls every year after you have insurance. It doesn't. They put you on a list. You are now marketed to.
Healthcare.gov. I don't know if I've ever signed up for healthcare.gov or even
No,
gone
yeah,
in.
you don't go. That was part of the Obama administration to help make a database for healthcare providers.
Yeah.
Right? And brilliant. All right. I'm going to give the government. All right. Hats off to the government on this one because they did a marketing ploy to get you to freely give them the information they needed to call you forever.
Yeah. I don't remember
no
doing
way,
that.
and wait a minute, and there is no way off of that list. You have to individually tell everyone who calls, take me off your list. There is no general way to get off that list. I don't know if you know that. That's how they set them up. You put your name in a database, you cannot retract your name from that database.
What about the do not call? What about the do not call?
No. You sign up for information, you have now bypassed the do not call list system. You
do not call, do not go to jail. Go straight to jail.
You asked for information. That's when I worked in the calling industry, that's why I learned this. Once they get you to click a button, sign up, give the information out, you bypass the do not call list. You've given them permission to call you, right? And what it is, because they've given you permission, you're not given permission to. They're not. In other words, they're not filling that list out to get, Katrina. It's not Katrina's list. It's not Tim's list. It's a general list that someone who's selling the names to other people.
Somebody else.
And you put your name on the list to be sold. When you understand and learn list building, you'll get this. All right. And I've studied list building over the years. Oh my God, that's how they get around the do not call list. So now you're stuck on this list, and then you say, well, don't call me anymore. And then you get pissed off at the next guy who said, and you didn't tell him yet. You told the last guy.
Well, I just blocked.
You can't get off the main list because the main list is a list to be sold. It does not come with an opt-out. That is where you got to watch sites that are just building lists.
Yeah.
Versus me coming to your site for something.
And on top of that, too, there are still companies out there that are trying to sell these lists to business owners, which legally you can't really use anymore.
Oh yeah, no. Legally, if they've signed up for a list, you can use the list.
No. My understanding is when it's a mailing list and you're sending it, you have to get permission from those people to send anything from you to that list. And if you're not getting that permission up above or ahead of that, it's not a legal action.
This is how they get around it. I'm telling you, these are smart lawyers. They have a list building company that's what they do. They actually put something out there to get your information, to get you on a list. They personally are never going to email you. They are going to sell that list to Katrina, to Tim, to market. Yeah. So now Katrina and Tim have the list, and they're calling the people or emailing the people. What happens is Katrina sends the things out, and they say, "Do not call me," and they say, "Katrina, don't call me anymore." Great. Now Katrina has to take them off of her list.
True.
They didn't tell Tim that yet, so Tim can still keep marketing to him. You understand what I mean?
Until they tell Tim to take
Until they tell Tim. The list itself can get sold over and over again, and there's not an opt-out for the list building company because they are not marketing anything to you. All they're doing is gathering data. They're a data gathering center. That's all they are.
So they've collected the data.
Yeah.
Then they're selling it to the business owners.
They're selling it to the business
owner. At that point, the business owner is now taking that data, that list, and now they're sending them an email or whatever the case may be. And at that point is when people look at it and say, "Take me off your list." And then legally,
the business owner legally has to take you off the list. The list building company, there's no communication with them. That's the loophole. And I'm telling you, we think that, that's how they worked around the do not call list. because you freely gave your information to a list building company.
I didn't give it to him.
Well, I learned not to do that. I learned I don't fill out forms unless I'm going to a specific site for a specific purpose. I'm filling the list out on that site. I'm not going to, hey, you know what I mean? We can help you get, you know what I mean? If you fill all this information, we'll hook you up with the right people. A good example is Angie's List. Yeah. Angie's List, all right, is not selling anything. All they're doing is selling your information to contractors, right? Yeah. They are in the business of building a list. They're not in the business of fixing your house problems. They sell your information to someone who fixes the house problem. You have to go through all kinds of hassle to get your name off of Angie's List. But each individual contractor takes that list and calls you. You fill out the form saying you want roofers. They send that list out and the roofers buy that list. This is who called in saying they want help today. Now, all those roofers reach out to you, right? One by one. And one by one, you've got to take yourself off of every one of those people of the roofers list. To go back and get your name off of Angie's List, oh my God, is it a hassle?
Bless you.
Excuse me.
Bless you.
Anyway, that's the list building game, and that is how they are able to get you on lists, make calls to you. All right. And it takes you forever to get off.
I don't like it.
No, I don't like it either, but
I don't like it.
Here's what we don't realize. Here's what this goes back to someone else, you and I talking, politics, right? When politicians make the laws like the do not call list, they have to put the loopholes in, or, all right, you know what I mean? The businesses, the people who support them are not going to support them anymore. So Joe Politician, who ran for congressman, all right, in your district there in New Mexico, he's supported by certain businesses. And he said, well, yeah, I'm doing this thing so that those businesses can't call. Well, the businesses there in New Mexico go, well, if you approve that bill in its written form, all right, we will not give you money for your reelection campaign. So now what they do is they go back to him and they say, well, we wrote this in that if you do this and you do this, they can be on the list and you don't have to, you know what I mean? And you can still call them. Okay, yeah, we'll approve that. You see, that's how it gets worked into the law. The law gets rewritten to the point to have the loophole into it.
I think we abolished the list.
I think we abolished Congress, but
blow
anyway.
Up the list. Blow it up.
Defund Congress is my defund Washington D.C.
Well, if you think about it, anything, and it makes perfect sense. They always go, anytime they go after people or anytime people try and stop something, it has to do with the money. No. So if all of us, I'm just saying, and I'm not trying to get into politics here, but all of us decided that we are not paying our taxes. We're not going to pay them. That if they're not going to pay them, then we're not going to pay them. There's no money to fund anything in politics. And then they don't get any money for themselves. So it would behoove them to start to say, oh, maybe we should pay attention to our constituents and maybe we should listen to what they need because we're not paying.
I know, but let's take that to another level. How are we going to get everybody to agree to that?
Well, that's the hard part. Because the thing is the IRS can send out a couple letters here and there, but they can't send it out to everybody.
I know.
So if there were enough people, everybody would pretty much have to be involved. And a lot of people would say, yeah, I don't know if I want to take that chance. Or what if I get a letter? Or what if I no, I don't want to. So, and that's part of that. That's part of, dare I say, revolution is you've got to be brave enough to say, I'm not doing
you
this
need more than it takes a large enough amount of people to make it end.
Yeah.
Right. We're watching right now. The TV show we're watching is Frasier. You remember Frasier?
Oh, I love Frasier.
Yeah, Frasier's so good. So we watched an episode last night on Frasier where basically the the working staff, not the radio personalities, but the working staff of the
I know
radio.
which one you're talking
Yep,
about.
they were not going to get a pay raise. So
Yes.
all of the staff, the radio personalities jumped in, all right, and said, we'll go on strike too, all right, to help support your cause.
Yep.
So it caused a disruption, right, to where they had to go in and negotiate, all right, to get, to get that raise, right? That's where it takes. It takes, because if only one party did it, well, they replace that one party, no problem. They'll get rid of them and replace them, right?
Yeah.
There was a previous episode on there where Frazier was trying to get his contract renegotiated. Remember that one, right? So what did he do? He didn't go to work, right?
Nope.
See, when you take away that's it. You got to cut off where the money cuts, right? You got to cut off where the money cuts. But then again, you know what I mean? Now we have the flip side to that is now we have people who never want to get a skill and they want to work the rest of their life as a cashier at McDonald's, where people take the orders and they just stand there and go, yeah, there's the machine over there. And they want to be paid $62 an hour, all right, because that's the living wage. I'm exaggerating, people. All right. $62 an hour because it's the living wage. Right? And
wouldn't that be awesome?
yeah. And they just want to, okay, we're going to throw a fight. All right. We need that kind of money.
Yeah.
Wait a minute. Now that you're paying us $62 an hour, how come a hamburger cost me $119?
Because we're paying you $62.
Because we're paying you $62 an hour.
Yeah.
And the more you go up onto it, the higher the hamburger price goes up.
Yeah.
The cost.
But part of that though too is when you look at the economics across the world and how much people are being paid and doctors and insurance and so on and so forth, the United States used to be the number one when it came to a lot of insurance and we didn't have a lot of the stuff going on that's a strife that we had in the past. We didn't have that. We are one of, I just saw they just did research. We are one of the saddest countries. We have more stress. There are more people that are upset. They feel that we have more division than we've ever had before. We have less insurance. We have less doctors to be able to handle the people that are here. We have, based on the cost and how much we make, is a lot. There's a lot less. People make less money compared to the cost that they're buying goods for. We're looking more like a third world country than third world countries do.
So this goes back to the mindset of the average American. The mindset of the average American, and this was told me back in 2009, right? I hung around with a group of people who were Republicans. God forbid, yes.
Oh,
and when Barack Obama got elected, the group of Republicans were like, oh no, the world's over. Well, how, they're going to crash the economy, blah, 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 blah. Kind of like what's happening now. Anyway.
Started before.
One of my friends came in who was a Republican, I found out later on, and he sat down with us that day and he said, you live in America. And if you
Where's he from? Where's he from?
He's from America.
Okay.
And he said, you live in America.
Okay.
He says, in America, you create your own economy. It
True.
doesn't matter who's in the White House. You create your own economy. That's just a fact. We go back to 2016. Now, I'm not going to say the people who this were, but the people in 2016, I remember the day that Donald Trump got elected. And we were at a mastermind group in California, all right, with Craig. And one of the ladies in that group said to me, oh, yeah, but this is going to ruin women's rights. And I'm like, I really wanted to go. Have you never been to a third world country? When you think about what we have in women's rights in our country, right? It's a mindset because she wasn't.
Oh, I understand.
She wasn't a Republican, so she's automatically thinking the negative because the same thing. Only this
And
isn't.
it goes both sides.
It goes both sides. That's what I'm trying to. That's what I'm trying to example. It goes both sides. It's a mindset,
Yeah, I
right?
agree.
And that mindset is, well, all right, you're a female. If I work for a female, it's going to be bad. Well, you're a male. It's that back and forth thing, and that's what's making us divided. Instead of realizing, in fact, that we are a country that has the best brain power. The most innovations in our world were created and started in this country.
Very true. Very true.
All right.
But we are not believing that, evidently. As a whole, we're not believing that.
Wait a minute. But why are people flooding to our borders, doing anything they can to cross the border to get into this country? Why? Because the opportunity is alive here and well.
Exactly.
And it doesn't matter what side of the political bandwagon you're on.
I agree with you. I agree with you on that. And I do agree with you on that. And it doesn't matter what side you're on. No. You're right. A Republican, even if you're an independent, doesn't matter what side you're on.
No, it doesn't.
One side's going to be pissed because the other side, and oh my gosh, now this is going to happen, or now this is going to happen.
No. That doesn't mean that there aren't things that are you know what I mean, that you are concerned with, right?
No.
There's things that you are concerned with, and it's why you vote the way you vote. There's things I'm concerned with, but I am not counting on Donald Trump, Joe Biden, Barack Obama, George W. Bush, Bill Clinton. I never counted on any one of them to put food on my table.
No, it's up to you to put that food on your table.
I put the food on my table.
Yes, it's up to you to put that food on the table.
My wife does now because she makes more money than me. But
however, we did watch a very interesting. I don't know if I told you this or not, but we watched a very interesting show that's called Is Seattle Dead? And they were showing about the homelessness and so on and so forth. And what was very surprising, that a lot of people make assumptions, just like we're talking about in regards to politics and so on and so forth. And it's a mindset that when they talk to people that were on the streets of Seattle, they said, and the people that were out there in the open, 100% of them were people that were on one form or another of drug addiction. Whether that be alcohol, heroin, Oxycontin, doesn't matter. One form or another, 100%. And they asked people that were in the homeless encampments. They said everybody they came across was dealing with some type of addiction. They also said that a lot of times we throw a lot of money at this and so forth, which we all have, but there's one thing that they said that if we could change, and that is the mindset of these people, and make them realize that they have other opportunities. Yeah. And that's the one thing we're not changing. We're going, there are people that are going and giving them food, and they're giving them clothes, and they're doing this and they're doing that, but nobody is working on the one thing that we're talking about, which is mindset. Yeah. Nobody's working on that.
Yeah, you try to teach a homeless person, all right, that he can pick his own self up by his own bootstraps, all right, and he won't believe it. Why? Because he only believes the crap that's been fed to him over the years.
In his area.
Dealing with it with family members of my own right now who, you're rich. You should be paying our way. No. No.
Really? You didn't tell me that. Can you write me a check?
Oh, I do have to tell you this. All right. In 2010, 10 or 9 or 10, something like that, right? Gwen and I started riding motorcycles, and we bought a cheap motorcycle so that she could ride it.
Before we go any farther, I want to know, was it a Harley?
Her first motorcycle that she got was a Ninja.
And okay.
Yeah, and we actually held on to it for about a year even after she got done riding it. But we got it cheap. It was like $3,000. We had to put tires onto it. We had to fix a few things onto it, but it ran great, and it was a great running bike to do things with. The next thing we did was I went and got her a Harley one day. I went to the dealer, I picked it out, and I, reserved it. And then I came home and I said, "You ready for a good day?" And she goes, "What?" I said, "I bought you a Harley Davidson today." You did, right? So about
He's
2 weeks
never
later,
bought me a Harley Davidson.
okay, no. 2 weeks later, we're going down that road. 2 weeks later, I'm sitting down. I'm having coffee with an old friend who her and I would, we were friends, but we never dated, but we had talked about dating at one point in time, right?
Got it.
And she goes, "You never bought me a Harley Davidson." I said, "We weren't dating." We weren't dating.
So there are things that you have that if you're dating or you're with that person, then
Hey, I got my wife a house. Dang, I take care of my wife.
my husband got me a house too. He takes
Yeah,
care
I know.
of me too.
So
I'm just saying. But I mean, going back to this thing, we talk about it here a lot. But I mean, how do you get to the bottom of mindset when there are so many people that are like walking around with tunnel vision and saying, this is what I see, this is what I deal with, don't tell me anything else because this is what I see.
You can lead a horse to water all day long. You can't make them drink.
I know. And
right.
And that I think is the biggest problem that we have, I think, as a country, is because we have so many freedoms that we've taken them for granted. If you think about it, we've got the freedom to talk, we've got the freedom of speech, we've got the freedom of press, we've got the freedom to.
Hold on. I got to switch cameras and show you this real quick. If I can switch this real quick.
Of course, going into a heavy duty conversation. Let's move over here.
Hold on.
FedEx. What are you getting? That's a big truck. What the hell are you getting?
That's a big box.
Here you go, sir.
Well, wait a minute. I'm waiting to see if there's more because I have two different.
Ding dong. Ding dong. FedEx
I have two different deliveries. Let's see if he brings the second one.
That's a big truck.
Of course.
See, folks, the reason why he's got a big FedEx truck out there is because Tim makes $65 an hour.
Oh, no, only one.
Sorry. He got chunked down to 32.
Anyway, it's because I have trees coming in.
Wait.
Last week, I think I showed you last week how they cut all the trees down. Yeah.
But
I've got 25. This week, I have 25 trees coming to be planted. Trees, bushes, shrubs. 25.
From FedEx?
They'll be coming in FedEx, yeah.
You've got trees coming from FedEx.
I bought them from I went online to order them from a nursery, and they deliver them by FedEx.
How did they set them up so that way you can?
That box, I guarantee you, that box has one of two ways. You see how he was holding it?
Yes.
Like this?
Yes.
Is it set to stay that way with a certain things? Because the trees are, if it's the long trees, they're in a bag. And that short one, if there's short trees, they're into it in a bag, all right, and sealed.
Got it.
But that one should probably have my two. I'll go look at it, but probably that one there's probably my two oak trees. I got 2 oak trees coming, 4 crepe myrtles coming, 10 box shrubs, and 10 Leland cypresses.
Nice. It's going to be a very leafy.
Yeah, wait till next week when I show you out the camera out the window but they're all small trees that are going to grow over time. I did not buy.
We'll watch that growth as we move.
Yeah, I did not buy big trees that can come down in a windstorm if they're not in right. I'm buying something that's going to grow with the property.
Got it. I'm sure your neighbors will like it now. They won't stop and drive by.
Oh, they don't stop anymore.
What's wrong with that house? They took all the trees out.
One of my neighbors said to me the other day, he says, your place is naked now. I said it had to be done. I says, and you know what I mean? I had to take it apart. And the decision was, do I delay it or not? So I'm like, when I got the price to take it out, I just took the money and paid it and said, do it, take them out. I still have a big pile of wood chips that I have to move to the back because it'll be 6 months before you could put those wood chips in for mulch. You have to let them sit for 6 months. You can't use live mulch. I did that in my research this week and found that out. My mom.
I don't have to worry about that. Our yard's completely done, and we don't have to worry about it. It's nice.
No, it's all me.
We already did that with our 10,000 square foot lot we had. It was us, but now we're
10,000. Yeah. Well, my 33,000 square foot lot is being done by us.
Oh, well, good luck with that. So back to mindset.
Again, all right, you could come back to this all day long. I'm going to hit you with this in mindset. You can lead a horse to water, but you can't make it drink.
I understand that, but I have a question for you.
Yeah.
I have a question for you. With mindset, I also saw a very interesting piece that was talking about our young kids and how they're on social media all the time. And how supposedly, and I'm not quite sure the schematics of this, but supposedly social media is very addictive, just like drugs. With this in place, they said that it's causing mind issues or psychological issues for our kids when they're on social media.
Okay, so shall we do a new study to find out whether we can do a study to counteract their study?
Oh, I'm sure we could. But here's the thing that I don't understand, that I'm just putting out to the audience, that I still to this day don't understand. If you're a young person, however, what age you are, and you're on social media and you've got issues where you're either being bullied or you don't feel like you're being wanted or you don't feel like people are paying attention to you, why in God's name don't you just turn the goddamn thing off? I don't get it. That I don't understand. Why not just turn it off? Why keep looking at it and saying, oh no, Susie didn't contact, oh no, they did, oh no, just turn it off. I don't understand that. Comments?
No, I'm looking up something. I can't find it now. Uh-oh, yeah.
He's looking something up. That's not good. I don't comprende or comprehend why this is such an issue when you can just turn it off. I don't understand. But I guess, I don't know if it's an addiction. Why can't you turn an addiction off too?
You can.
Of course you can. We talked about that. It's mindset. And it's just, and I guess it's just a matter of how strong your mindset is and how badly do you want to really change. And maybe that's the key. You don't want to change.
The key, I'm gonna tell you a key. Do you remember when we were teenagers?
Yes.
What is the one aspect to teenagers, all right, that makes them that is well known? What does a teenager do?
What does a teenager do that's well known? They do stupid things.
Yes, but what? I'm pretty sure.
They want to make sure that they want to make sure that their peers like them or that they are liked by their peers.
Nope.
No idea. Please do tell us, oh wise one.
The number one character trait of that a teenager will do.
Which he looked at. The opposite of what they're told.
Or it's called rebellion.
Yeah. So you do it. So you do like my mom did. You do reverse psychology. Go for it.
Yes, we can play the game of reverse psychology. Thanks, JS, by the way, for giving me my point.
Go for it.
But rebellion. The rebellion is the greatest thing for mindset. Why? Because the good teenager, all right, will learn, I'm going to rebel and I'm going to go try this. If it doesn't work, they come back and go, okay, yes, Mom, you were right. If it does work, they have now given a new proof to the system, all right? A whole nother study has been done, and we have proved that the last study was wrong. thus changing mindset. But what happens? We get into our 20s, all right, and we too often we've gone down that road and we've got too many things, and we got to come back. Oh, yeah, Mom, you were right?
Yeah, Mom and Dad get smarter the older you get.
Yeah, they do. But that rebellion in the early 20s, all right, is where people like Mark Zuckerberg create Facebook.
Oh, I agree.
All right. That mindset of, you know what I mean, is what we created it. All right. The reason why, and this is in social media sites, there's a reason why a new social media site comes out for teenagers every 3 years. Why?
Because
they're trying to avoid the one their parents are on.
Yeah, or the old ones aren't. Yeah, that's true.
That's it. They're trying to avoid the one their parents are on.
Yeah, they've got the access.
They want that place to get away, right?
Yeah.
That's why that's the foundation right there of mindset. I pray to God that when my kids go try something, that they fail some, they win some. They fail some, they win some. Number one, I pray they learn failure so that they know it's not the end of the world. I get back up, I try again. When they succeed, it's so they can go, great. I proved, all right, that old philosophy is no longer true. What else can I go try to improve on?
So they're essentially learning their lessons, and I get this. They're learning their lessons by learning what works and what doesn't.
Yeah.
I get that. But what I still don't get, even when I was a teenager, if I found something didn't work, I moved on and went to something that did work. There are still a lot of them out there that are still working on the same thing that still isn't working.
Well, that's life. There's a lot of people who aren't putting the effort in because, well, the last 92 times did not work. Let me try this a 93rd time, but it's not going to work, but I'm going to try it anyway.
Well, and I think this part of the mindset is that it gets to that point that I think a lot of people just give up. They just say, well, it didn't work, so I'll just do this. Oh, that didn't work too, because it was kind of similar to this last one, but I'll just do this. I mean, it just seems to me, I don't understand why people keep doing the same thing.
Should we put this one up or no?
Let me see.
You can proofread it faster than I can. See, I don't want to put anything else up that gets us kicked down again. I don't.
It's interesting. It's an interesting concept.
It is. All right, but let's just skip that. Let's go back to this. All right. This thing here with these kids, all right, they're going to do it and they keep repeating the same mistake. In life, mindset, and in life, all right, everything is a test.
Oh, I agree.
You and I you and I have been facing a test for a year of how we're getting this to come off the ground, right?
I agree.
What's the difference between you and I doing this, all right, and the kid who's out there doing the same thing over and over again?
We've already been there. We're acting. We're doing it.
Every 3 weeks or so, we're trying to tweak it.
Yes.
How do we tweak this? What else do we do?
Yeah, this didn't work, so we'll try that.
Yeah, it didn't work, so let's try. Let's tweak it this way and try.
So we'll try that.
We know, you and I both know that a show with a guy and a girl works. So we're attempting it and we're pushing it. All right, we're trying to make it work. We just don't know how it's going to work, but we know the concept.
Yes.
Of a show with a guy and a girl in business talking about business works.
Yes.
We're just trying to figure out how to make it work.
Yes.
But
we keep trying new things. We're not trying the same thing over and over again. That's not working.
That's the point. We're not trying the same thing over and over again. We're trying something different almost on a monthly basis.
Yes.
Right? And that is what the difference is. All right. Now, you know what I mean? We now have ways to watch our numbers, all right, and look at things and grow. And we now know not to talk about certain things, all right? Like apparently when we talk about the rain, things really get out of place. For our listeners who don't know, all right, go research the weather episode.
Yes, we cannot talk about certain topics.
We can't talk about the weather because apparently we can't put out.
Nope. We can't talk about that. No.
Apparently, we can't trust the science on something that has been scientifically proven for hundreds of years.
No, we can't talk about that. And there are other topics that we cannot talk about.
Yeah.
Because it's too volatile. It
But we
breaks
can talk about sex and business.
all day long. And
Which goes back to trying out things and talking about it. All right. You go back to you remember the movie that Woody Harrelson starred in about the guy who had Hustler magazine.
Oh yeah.
What was that movie called? The People versus Larry Flint.
Yes, thank you.
Okay.
It was right there, and then you.
In that movie, all right, there was a section in the movie where Larry Flint is on stage and he's speaking of these things and he's talking about what's viewed in the media, and he shows pictures of people being killed and mutilated and blood and guts, and he goes, "How is this acceptable? But a picture of a couple nude isn't.
It's not. Yeah.
It's not acceptable. How?
I agree.
Like,
yeah.
I mean, to me, and I get it. We can get into people, who are closed-minded on this and get it. We don't want to see that. But at the time, there were horror films coming out that would show that, and that was okay.
Yep.
Right? And this goes down into, we get stuck in this realm, okay? This is okay, but this isn't. Right?
And who decides that? That's the point.
It.
How is it that one person or one group makes this decision for everybody?
Yeah.
It's just like, remember, oh God, they were the movie, I can't think of their name, but they were the ones that always look at the movies and then they would give their opinion on the movie on whether it was going to be good.
Oh, not Bert and Ernie, but anyway.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing. I was like, no, that's not it. Eckert and something.
Bert and Ernie. Yeah, it was Bert and Ernie.
It was Bert and Ernie. So they talk about the movies and so forth, but that's the thing. It was their Siskel and Ebert. Thank you, Gilbert. Siskel and Ebert.
JS knows all this stuff, all right?
Yes, and they would talk about their opinions. So here's the thing. It was their opinion. They said that Grease was going to be a flop, was going to be the worst movie ever. It was one of the top contending movies that made more money than a lot of the other movies
I think they put down Top Gun as well.
Yes. And they said it's not going to make any money. Nobody's going to love it, blah, blah, blah. So that, I think, is kind of where maybe, and that's how, I mean, if you think about it, politics, anything, it's all based on a collective group that's saying we have everybody's best interest in this decision. And it's all it is this collective group. When there's millions and trillions of people out there. So how is it that their collective group can make that decision on all of those people out there, which 9 times out of 10 is usually not a very good decision.
Well, usually it's the 10 people with the worst opinion.
Exactly. And that, okay. And I guess.
But along that lines, all right, we can switch subjects here a little bit, and go into, over the past 2 weeks here, the Oscars.
Yes.
Some great things happened in the Oscars, all right? The movie, Everything, Everywhere, All at Once. Did you see the movie?
I have not.
All right, so Ruben wanted to see it, so we went to see it. I was not impressed. I was not impressed with the movie. However, I am applauding them at winning that award. Why? Because it was super creative, and they went outside the box, and they did something that was so bizarre. I'm sorry. They deserve that award. I'm not going to question it. Even though I didn't like the movie, I'm not questioning it, right? Because that exactly is what that is supposed to be. They are supposed to reward the people who do the great thing.
Yes,
all right?
I agree.
The other thing, all right, seeing Brendan Fraser win, I mean, I don't watch the Oscars, but I, of course, watch the videos of it. Brendan Fraser win. I'm so glad that man came back to win an Oscar.
Yeah, he's come a long way. And look at Jamie Lee Curtis.
There's the other one. Jamie Lee Curtis, man.
Long time. And look how fabulous she still looks. I mean, I'm just saying. And
I'm
And it
sorry,
just,
but I can't think of Jamie Lee Curtis in anything other than, you know what I mean? What was that one she was in with Arnold Schwarzenegger?
oh, yeah, True Lies.
True Lies. Her in the bikini in the. I'm sorry, and her and her. I'm sorry. That's all I want to think about with Jamie Lee Curtis.
That woman definitely has a body.
He has a body.
She has a body. I will say that much, man. She's got the perfect shape. But I mean, and like they said at the Oscars, it was more of the comeback kids.
Yeah.
It was all these people that had never won, and most of them were much older. And
Yeah,
wasn't the young?
and they didn't win, and they weren't picked to win because they'd never won.
No,
They were picked because they were in freaking awesome projects.
Yes, I agree.
You know, and
I agree.
And I remember years ago. Do you remember that one Boyhood that was done years ago, where the kid they filmed a little bit every year over like a 10-year or 13-year period of time. It was called Boyhood. And I can't remember the actor that was in it, but they were questioning him. And it's like, you know what I mean? Well, are you upset it didn't win an Oscar? He said, you don't create a movie like that thinking I'm going to win an Oscar with it.
No.
That's a creative project. That's a unique project. You're not creating that to go, hey, am I going to win the Oscar when it comes out? Not at all. You don't even care because it's a unique project and you want to be involved. That's what won this year. Unique projects that actors went, I want to be involved with this. This is cool.
I think things in general, when you look at life in general, when you really feel like this is right, this is exactly what you need, it works.
I'm not going to repeat it. I'm just going to go. So it's not on the audio. Don't want to get kicked off again.
No, we don't want to. We've already had that happen several times. That's how we learn. We can't.
That's how we learn what not to do.
Yeah, certain things we cannot do. But I mean, it's just, I thought this was interesting in regards to, like I said, it all comes back to mindset. Even for the young, even for politics, even for home, doesn't matter. Business, personal, it doesn't matter. It comes back to what is your mindset? How badly do you want to be out of a situation, or how badly do you want to be in a situation? That, I think, is the key, is how badly do you truly want it? And I think, I mean, no matter how you look at it, even with the homelessness that we were talking about, how badly do you truly want to be out of that situation? If you really wanted to be out of it as badly as they claim they do, you would find ways.
So you say that because they are too often we are programmed to tell people that they can't get out of it. I remember watching two movies, same actor, same man put them together. Number one was a movie, the other one was a TV show. The first movie being Super Size Me.
Oh yeah.
I proved it wrong. I ate at McDonald's for 2 years. McDonald's was my freaking food. 2 years. All I ate, McDonald's food. What was the difference?
You have a different metabolism.
No. The point of his show was that McDonald's food was bad for you. But really, the point was excessive McDonald's food is bad for you. Because it was supersized. And there was a rules to it. His rules is what set him up for failure. My rules was I could eat McDonald's, and I did. I ate McDonald's for 2 years straight, the dollar menu. I had a $1 McChicken sandwich and a $1 McDouble sandwich for lunch, a $1 McChicken sandwich and a $1 McDouble sandwich for dinner, and a glass of water with both of them. That was my meal for 2 years. That's all I ate. That's all I could afford. So I proved him wrong. Number two, he did a documentary called 30. He was doing this thing called 30 Days. And he did 30 days on minimum wage and why people cannot survive on minimum wage. The first thing he did when he did do this project was he moved to a city and he signed a 30-day lease on an apartment. Now, I don't know how much money I'm going to make, but I'm going to sign a lease on an apartment.
Yeah.
You're an idiot.
Yeah.
I lived on, and this is not like, we're not talking about in the 80s, 2006 to 2008 time frame, maybe 2005 to 2008, around that time frame. And there was a section of that time that my take-home pay was $70 a week. And I found a way to survive doing it.
Yeah.
I didn't go out and lease an apartment at $500 a month. Couldn't afford it.
So you
I
stayed
had to
with
find
friends.
alternative ways to live. I rented rooms to the point that it taught me discipline, so that in 2009, when I bought my first rental property, I was renting a room in someone's house while owning a rental property. And the people whose room I'm renting are going, well, aren't you going to move into your new house? I'm like, no. The new house is
It's
to
what's
make
making
money
you
for
money.
me,
Yeah.
not cost me money. And that's the mindset as we're going back to. All right. I proved 2 movies wrong because of the fact that I said this one thing. I'm broke, but one day I won't be. And I remember that there was a girl that I was dating at the time who I actually looked at a place, or looked at a new development coming up. And I said, I'm going to own a house in there someday. Right. And the houses in there at that time were selling for about $150,000 less from the house I bought right now. Think about that. Mindset took over. I said, I'm broke, but someday I won't be.
I had the same thing. I was raised by a single parent, my mom, and anytime we wanted something or I'd ask for something, her comment was always, money doesn't grow on trees. I only make so much. If you want something, you have to go out and get it.
Go do some work.
You have to go out and get it. So at the age of 14, I got a babysitting job, and I've been working since the age of 14. And I was babysitting for quite some time, and I made pretty good money. But that money that I had was what I went to go buy clothes and so on and so forth. And I remember when I was a kid, my mom would ask me, well, what kind of job do you want to get? No, I want to be the one who's in charge, who's at the top of the building, who owns the building, owns the business. I get to make all of the decisions.
Yep.
And one day I'm going to be in a really, really nice house in a really nice neighborhood at the top of the hill. I own my own business, have been for this past 16 years. I make my own decisions. I'm the one who's responsible for bringing in the money or not. And now we have this gorgeous house on top of a hill. So yes, it is feasible. It's just a matter of what it is you want and how badly, and that's the key. How badly do you want it?
Yeah.
Personally, I think it's how badly do you want it. If you want it bad enough, you will make every effort to get it.
I did things that I won't mention on this show to be able to find money to survive.
I agree. I worked 2 and 3 jobs at one time. My mom worked 4 jobs. You do what you have to do. You can either come up with excuse after excuse after excuse, or you say, you know what, damn it, this is what I want. And this is what, and if I have to do this,
I'm going to go find a way to get it.
Yep, I'll do it. Doesn't matter.
Yep.
If I have to give up this to get this, I'll do it.
Define, what did I used to say? I used to say it when I was doing my rocker life coach days. Define the lifestyle you want and then find the income to get it.
Yep.
Right? And I was always about that, and I always believe in that. And I still keep working, all right? Trying to find ways. It's like, trying to find ways to rebuild myself always. I remember watching the TV series when it came out, Undercover Billionaire, the first season, not the second season. The first season with this guy just being dropped in the middle of freaking nowhere. And he said, I'm going to build a business. I'm going to build $1 million business in 90 days. Blew my mind, right? Because he didn't do it with, how can I scam the system? He moved in and went, okay, I need food. I need shelter. All right. Hotel costs this much. I can sleep in my truck. I need some sort of sleeping bag or something to keep warm. All right. Food. Okay. I can buy these. I think he was buying ramen noodles. I can buy these ramen noodles. They're 29 cents each.
Yep.
All right. And will get me by for the first couple of days. And you know what I mean? And he set goals, little by little goals. I need to make this much to survive for the next 90 days, to pay my rent for an apartment, to pay, all that. He built a system and built up from nowhere. The second season, they did it all differently. Like, you know what I mean? Oh, I'm going to go sop off of these people to get whatever I want. All right. It wasn't the same as the first season.
Yeah. And like I said, I mean, it goes along with business, personal, doesn't matter what you think about.
Yeah.
If you want it bad enough, you'll find a way.
Yeah.
You really will.
We will be the #1 show in business. We'll find a way.
Exactly. It's just we're
The #1 show in business in the south of the south. What is it? What's that? The South Uganda jungle or something. We're #1.
God, golly,
We caught it, man.
We did it. We're #1.
Before we go today, I want to put this idea out for our listeners that what we're going to be doing, and I'm pretty sure you'll be fine with me sharing it this way, as we don't have the logistics worked out yet, but something that we want to do on this mindset piece is we want to start a book club. So we don't have the opt-in or anything for it, but our book club is basically going to be, we're going to take on a book. And we're going to do, I don't know whether we're going to do it chapter by chapter every week at a certain time, where basically we're going to meet you all on a call. All right. We're going to do a Zoom call, a Zoom meeting, and we're going to do a book together. You know what I mean? And, when I brought this up to Katrina, she was like, yeah, we don't have logistics. We haven't got it down, but you agree with me. It was a great idea. We're trying to figure it out.
Yes. And I think it's a great idea to have our audience or get together and talk about, because said book, because the thing is like we were talking about movies, you can have 5 people go see a movie and come back and talk about it. And you'll all be sitting there saying, wait, was I in the same movie as you? Because I don't remember that.
Again, we go back to Everything Everywhere All at Once. All right. I sat in that movie theater with 5 or 6 people that I knew. All right. My wife and my son loved it to death. I stayed there because it was my son loved the movie. I wasn't into it.
Yep.
And and I've gone to a ton of movies that he does like. And I've liked. Like I remember we went to see some other one and I was like, well, that's pretty good. But this one I wasn't a fan of. It's okay. He loved it, and I stayed there and enjoyed it because he enjoyed it. My wife enjoyed it, so I stayed there with them.
Talking about mindset, I just have one comment that I think our audience should check out. It's called The Recruit.
Yeah.
This is basically, it's just about this kid who gets involved in the CIA and is thrown into this with no help whatsoever. But you know what? He figures it out because in his mindset, he's going to be so good that they're never going to forget about him. And he's going to be the top in the CIA. Mm-hmm. And it kind of goes back to the mindset thing. I mean, he had nothing to work on, nothing. He was just thrown into the lion's den and nobody told him, no, don't do that or do this. It's a very good series and it's called The Recruit. I highly recommend it. You've seen it, haven't you?
I haven't, but I just wrote it down. I'm gonna go check it out.
It's a great series,
yep.
And it's only the first season's come out, and then the second season is coming. But he figures it out, and that's what I love about it. Is it doesn't matter what situation he's put in, and they're not. I mean, there were some pretty bad situations. He figures it out, and that's what I really like about. I mean, and I think that in ties into business in general. When you start your own business, you figure it out.
Yeah, because
that's how you keep it going. You figure it out. If this isn't working, okay, then we'll move into something different. We'll
move it on. Yeah.
We'll figure it out.
All right. Before we go, why don't you tell them a little bit about you and your business? All right, so they can come check you out.
Well, I'm Katrina Garcia with KG Website Designs, and we help you build your list, grow your business, and make money while you sleep with your website. Mm-hmm. And Tim?
I'm Tim Gillette, Simple Easy Marketing. All right, Tim Gillette Media is my company. All right, I help people with content, branding, and automation.
Awesome.
All right.
And we're here for you.
Our website should be getting, and we're working on it right now and correcting it. There is a page up at businessgspot.com. All right, which we will, today we will have the opt-in for people who are interested in the book club.
Yep.
We'll tell you guys more about it next week.
Yep. Sounds good. Thanks for watching.
Yep. See you guys next week.
Bye. Have a good